Hello, welcome to Movie Summaries. Today we are summarizing a 2020 horror and thriller movie called Death of Me. Fair warning, there are spoilers in this summary. Enjoy, and be sure to subscribe to watch more videos weekly, and hit like. Beautiful green trees and blue oceans surround a quaint little island. On this island are Christine and Neil Oliver, a married couple on vacation together. We are taken into the bungalow the two are staying in, which is an absolute wreck. Christine is sleeping on the bed, and Neil is passed out face first on the floor. Christine wakes up, covered in dirt and grime. Looks like they had a bit of a wild time. As Christine slowly comes out of her morning haze, she turns to look for her husband. Upon finding him on the floor, she rushes to make sure he is okay. He wakes up, as Christine panics, realizing they overslept and are going to be late for their ferry. She rushes to throw things together, while Neil, who is also covered in filth, tries to get himself together. Neither of them can seem to remember what happened the night before. In the cab, Christine asks Neil if he bought her a strange necklace she woke up wearing. He says he doesn't think so, but seeing as neither of them can remember how they got back to their room last night, it's possible. The cab driver takes a wrong turn going to the ferry, but without being able to speak the same language, Neil and Christine are unable to communicate with him. Christine thinks he is trying to get more money out of them by going the long way, but the man tells them he is going to a festival. Neil tries to tell him that they don't want to go to the festival, but the ferry. The cab driver becomes frustrated with them and kicks them out, leaving them to run to try and make it on time. Once they arrive at the docks, the couple discovers that both their passports and IDs are missing. Without an ID, they aren't allowed to get on the ferry. The lady tells them that there is another boat off the island leaving at 7 if they can find their passports by then. While they aren't paying attention, their luggage gets loaded onto the boat without them, and they are left with nothing. Back at the bungalow, they search the entire room, but are unable to find either their passports or Christine's phone. Neil assures her that they can go back to the US Embassy once they are back on the mainland to get home. Christine sits by the docks to try and relax a bit before heading back inside, where she finds Neil going through his phone. He says he must have taken pictures the previous night and thinks they might be able to get some answers that way. They look through pictures of them relaxing on the beach, going on boats, and going out for dinner, all of which they remember. They also find a 2-hour video, which they watch together. In the video, the couple sees themselves at a bar. The waitress serves them a mysterious drink and gifts Christine the necklace. Now we know where the necklace came from. After a little while, Christine begins to feel sick, and it seems as though she's been drugged. They leave the bar, but the camera gets dropped, and there is a period where nothing happens. Neil fast forwards until they see themselves again, stumbling through someone's yard. They stop to make out, and have a little naughty fun in the grass. As they watch their mysterious sex tape, things suddenly turn from steamy to scary. When Neil begins choking Christine, he strangles her and snaps her neck before digging a hole and burying her body. The video ends there. Christine, who is understandably shaken, runs and locks herself in the bathroom. Neil follows closely behind, begging her to let him in. She looks in the mirror and finally notices the bruises around her neck. She begins to have a panic attack and removes the necklace. Her condition rapidly deteriorates, and she begins throwing up dirt and grass. Neil breaks down the door and finds his wife slumped in the corner. He rushes to her side and finds her ice cold. The caretaker of the bungalow, Samantha, arrives with her daughter, Nathita, and finds them in the bathroom. She asks them why they're still there, when they were supposed to have checked out already, and is shaken by the state of Christine. Neil briefly explains what happened, and Samantha offers to let them stay while they get things figured out. Nathita finds Christine's necklace and puts it back on her. As soon as the necklace is back on, Christine begins to physically look better. Samantha tells Neil that she knows the island doctor and offers to get Christine seen. At the doctor's office, Neil and Christine have a hard time communicating because they don't speak Thai, and the doctor does not speak good English. Christine notices 3 small children watching her as she is getting checked out. Neil and Christine try to explain to the doctor that she was vomiting dirt and that they drank something bad, but the doctor says it was namun prai, a very powerful Buddhist drink that is a very strong hallucinogen and can be very dangerous in high doses. Neil shows him the video of him strangling his wife, but the doctor thinks it is a fake video. While Neil bickers with the doctor, Christine starts to feel bad again. She looks towards the children and sees their eyes and mouths have been covered with black tape. She snaps back to reality when the doctor hands her a little vial of liquid, but she asserts that she is not going to drink it. Neil is rewatching the video as he and Christine walk on the beach. They argue about what happened in the video and what seems logical. While Neil is talking, Christine's ears start ringing again and she develops a headache. When she looks back up, Neil is gone. She frantically looks around for her husband who was just standing there, but he is nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, Neil appears behind her and startles her. She asks him where he went, but he seems confused at her question as he was standing with her the whole time. Neil apologizes and reassures her that they will get on the 7 o'clock ferry and leave. The couple sits at a cafe to kill time. A group of people in grotesque looking masks playing music dance by. Christine questions questions if this is the mystery festival the cab driver was talking about earlier. A young woman that was watching them earlier comes over and speaks to them. Looking cautiously at the necklace Christine is wearing, Neil asks what the festival is for, but before the woman can answer, the waiter comes up and scares the woman away. Christine asks Neil if he saw the way the woman looked at her necklace. She takes it off, stating that it's creepy. Neil watches as the festival people pass by, and Christine tells him to go take pictures, because it's what he came for. Neil excitedly leaves with his camera. As she's sitting at the table, Christine begins to hear strange voices whispering to her, and notices some of the other people at the cafe staring at her. She feels nauseated, and rushes to the bathroom, leaving the necklace on the table. Neil is still following the parade, unaware that his wife is sick again. When he begins to feel strange himself, he pulls out his phone to record a video diary of the festival, when suddenly, a man snatches his phone from his hands, and runs away with it. Back in the bathroom, Christine is dry heaving as she pulls a live snake from her throat. Neil chases the man who stole his phone, who we see is the cab driver from earlier, but loses him in the crowd of people. He finally spots him down a side alley, where the man has gone through his photos and deleted the video evidence of the previous night. Neil sucker punches him in the face before taking back his phone, but it is too late because the video is gone. Neil heads back to the cafe to get Christine, but finds the table empty. The waiter tells him that Christine went to the bathroom, but when he arrives, he finds only her purse, and Christine is nowhere to be found. The camera cuts back and forth between Neil and Christine, where we see Christine lying on a table, barely awake. She is surrounded by a group of women, with their eyes and mouths sewn shut, who appear to be performing a strange ritual on her. They inject a strange black substance into her eyes. Neil goes around showing her picture to people, and asking if they've seen her, but with no luck. The waiter from the cafe tells him he found her. Neil rushes to find Christine unconscious in an alleyway, with a nasty cut on her arm. He takes Christine to the bathroom to clean her wound. Christine notices that the strange necklace is back on her, and asks Neil if he put it back on her neck, but he says he did not. Neil asks Christine why she won't tell him what happened, but she simply states that he would not believe her. Outside, Christine tries to explain to Neil what she saw. Neil shows her a picture of a statue he took during the festival. The two of them marvel at how much the statue looks like Christine. Christine then notices the same waitress from the bar leaving a tattoo shop. She tries to chase after her, but the girl runs from them. They go into the tattoo shop to ask about her. The woman who owns the tattoo shop, Conda, is working on the back of a large man. Christine asks her if she knows anything about the necklace. The large man stands, smiling, and hugs Christine, and thanks her before leaving. Conda tells her that the necklace is an honor, a special gift for celebrated guests on the island. Christine asks Conda if she knows who Maddie is, and where to find her. Neil offers Conda $300 to tell them where Maddie is. Conda accepts the money, and reluctantly writes down the address, but she warns them against going, because the place is not for Westerners. Neil sighs and says that it's too late, because they have already been there. The two of them make their way back to Maddie's bar. Upon noticing their arrival, everyone stops to stare and smile at Neil and Christine. As they walk up the steps to meet Maddie, Christine notices a doll in the middle of the dining table that looks just like her, and is wearing the same dress she was the night before. Maddie tells them that she's been looking for them, because they left in such a rush the night before. Maddie opens a safe and hands Neil his passport. He asks where Christina's passport is, but Maddie says she only has his. He tells Maddie about him choking and burying his wife, but she laughs and says that's kinky. She says that's what happens when you take the drink she gave them. Christine accuses her of drugging them. Maddie tells her that she's the one who asked for the drink, and the necklace was a reward for her bravery. Christine tries to return the necklace, but Maddie gets offended, saying it's not hers to give. The other locals crowd around the three of them, chanting in Thai, which creeps the couple out, so they leave. As they are leaving, a little boy hugs Christine, while three more children run circles around her with ribbons. Back at the bungalow, Neil says that one of the neighbors is a fisherman and will take them off the island. Samantha comes to check on them, and Christine thanks her for her hospitality and the drink she gave her, which made her feel better. Samantha laughs and says it's island magic, just like her necklace. Christine asks her if that's a real thing or just superstition. Samantha says that she used to not believe it either, but she was sick before she came to the island, and now she's healthy. Christine tries to pass off the necklace to her, but she declines, saying it's not for her, and Christine should probably keep it. Christine meets Neil on the docks, and asks for his phone to try and call someone to tell them where they are. Neil, who is acting strangely, asks who the Wicker Man called, but Christine says he didn't, because he burned to death. Nice reference, guys. Christine finds a new video on Neil's phone, where he claims that there is no hope for ever leaving the island, and tells her they are about to die a horrible death. The fisherman, who was previously gutting a fish, whispers something in Neil's ear. Neil then grabs a knife and begins to remove his intestines before falling into the water. Christine goes into shock after seeing her husband gut himself, and passes out on the docks. She wakes up on a bench, with a police officer standing by her with Samantha. Christine rushes back to the dock, only to find that the tides have gone out and there's blood on the docks. Samantha tells her that what she's saying happened is not possible, and that she was the only one on the docks. Christine wakes up again, lying on the ground with Nathita and the other children dancing around her. She walks out into the muddy area, where there was once water. She sees Neil's body body lying where he would have fallen, but it disappears when she reaches him. She turns and sees bodies with their eyes and mouths sewn shut, buried, yelling at her. Samantha pulls out of her vision by calling to her, holding out a phone to her, and saying Neil is on the phone. Christine rushes back to talk to her husband, but the signal is bad and the call drops. Christine gets frustrated and claims she knows who is doing this. Samantha drives Christine back to Maddie's bar, determined to find her husband. Christine rushes in. She finds a phone ringing and goes to pick it up. Christine is once again transported into a vision where she sees familiar sewn-faced ladies standing behind her. She tries to pull the thread out of the mouth of one of them, but inhales a strange smoke cloud and passes out. Christine wakes up on Samantha's couch, unaware of how she got there. Samantha tells her that she passed out as soon as she stepped out of the car, and they brought her back. Christine once again takes the necklace off and begins remembering more of what happened to her during the ritual. She remembers the woman taking her pants off and seemingly forcing something alive inside of her. Gross. She doubles over in excruciating pain, which goes away after Samantha puts the necklace back on her. Samantha tells Christine that she imagined Neil killing himself and implies that he is still alive somewhere on the island. Samantha insists Christine see a doctor from the island. The doctor informs Christine that she is pregnant. Christine is in utter disbelief. She sees Kanda outside watching her. The doctors give her an ultrasound, and we hear and see a very real baby growing inside of her. Suddenly, sparks go flying as they try to unplug the ultrasound machine. Christine catches a glimpse of the screen, which shows a very non-human looking thing inside of her. She panics, and the doctors try to restrain and sedate her, but she escapes and goes to Kanda's shop. Kanda finally explains that Christine is neither living nor dead, and the necklace keeps her alive. She tells Christine that the island people have been burying pregnant women for hundreds of years as sacrifices, and that they plan to use her next to protect the island from the storm. Kanda reveals that she does not believe in their unwilling sacrifices, but she does believe in the necklace, and offers to help Christine if she lets her sick son use it. Christine agrees to give her the necklace, but only after they find Neil and leave. The doorbell to the shop rings, and Christine hides while Kanda goes to see who it is. The doctor comes in, and after a brief exchange, whispers in Kanda's ear. Christine goes out to find Kanda stabbing herself repeatedly. She uses her last breath to tell Christine to run. Christine grabs Kanda's gun before running out of the shop. She pleads with people, who all shut their doors in her face, before running into Samantha. She tells Christine that she is going to take her to the ferry, but they have to hurry. On the way, Nathita points out that Samantha is going the wrong way to the ferry. Samantha tries to shut her up, but Nathita insists that Samantha isn't playing fair. It is revealed that Samantha is not Nathita's real mother, and that her real mom was one of the island's sacrifices. Samantha goes off on a tangent about how Christine should be honored, but Christine shoots her in the head and escapes the vehicle. She runs into Maddie, who captures her and drags her off into the woods, and leaves her in front of a giant gate. When Christine wakes up, she opens the gate and finds the entire town set up for the ritual. Maddie ties her to a post and explains how Christine volunteered for the sacrifice because she chose to stay on the island, even when they offered her to leave. Maddie begins to sew Christine's eyes shut, but she breaks free and runs. The village people try to grab her, but Maddie insists that it must be Christine's choice, or the sacrifice won't work. The people chase her as she runs to a boat, but she escapes just in time. She drives the boat out into the ocean, just as the waves begin crashing in with the storm. The next day, we see the island in ruins. The news plays in the background, saying the typhoon went around every part of Thailand, except the island. Out in the ocean, a rescue boat finds Christine dead on her getaway boat. They bring her back to the island and line her body up with the rest of the villagers. One of the rescue responders places the necklace in the body bag with her before zipping it up. Suddenly, Christine's eyes open, and she is alive again, and the movie ends. Okay, there needs to be a sequel after that ending. Hope you enjoyed our summary. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos weekly. Thanks.